do you think what kind of advice would you give a young person who may be going through a similar situation? Because you turned out pretty awesome, so.
I'm blessed and lucky. I also could have turned out very not awesome.
Sure.
I got very fortunate to be in the right place at the right time. Like when he left, my junior year of high school was the summer right before I jumped off the deep end, and then when he committed suicide my senior year, then like I drove a 66 Mustang that I rebuilt from the ground up, bought it, my own money, 14 years old, rebuilt it until I was 16, drove it the first time on my driver's test.
Right.
The trunk of that car became a bar at high school. Sorry, Mom.
I think everyone did stuff like that. Come on.
Yeah, but it was like, I definitely put on the front of being the happy-go-lucky kid, and like I think from that I've been able to learn that, to appreciate life and appreciate now, and to just be happy, because like there is no guarantee of tomorrow.
Yep.
Like maybe I won't see you tomorrow. Maybe I'll wrap my car around a pole and I won't make it. Like that's not something that I'm being paranoid about. It's just a reality of life. And so I was really taught the lesson of just to appreciate today and right now, because if I'm thinking about tomorrow or a year from now, I'm cheating the moment.
Sure.
So, but I also became very reluctant to get into deep relationships.
Makes sense.
I was always bouncing around from group to group to group to group of people in high school. So like I'd spend like a month or so hanging out with this group of people, and then they'd all get to know me pretty well, and then off to the next thing. And I definitely see a dozen-year-long pattern of that in my life, where I'm always off to the next thing. And
well, you've been around us for a while.
yeah, I love y'all.
Now, you worked at a Christian camp before you were in poker. You helped run a youth ministry. Is that what it was? And you were a whitewater rafting guide, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Well, I got into the rafting through the ministry. Really what kind of turned my life into a much more positive direction, rather than, having a bar in the back of my trunk.
Although that was fun.
Yeah, it was a good time. Between my senior year of high school and my freshman year of college, I got accepted to USC. Okay. And my plan was like, frat guy, big man on campus, go. My mom asked me if I would like to be a counselor for my little brother, who was 8 at the time, at this camp called Forest Home that I had gone to a couple times as a camper. And I was like, yeah, because I want to be that father figure to my little brother, having no clue that like I was the one that was going to be taught things that week. Wow. And when I got up there on Sunday, like I just fell in love with it. And by Monday, I realized that for the first time in my life, I was doing something that I really enjoyed, and that actually had some sort of meaning beyond today. Yeah. So I fell in love with it, and I ended up basically talking my way onto staff that summer of '99, and I returned to the camp summer of 2000. Then after that summer, Bel Air Presbyterian Church asked me to co-direct their junior high youth ministry as interns, but we ran the show, and I did that from 2000 to 2002. And in that process, we received like a $75,000 donation from some family or something, and they wanted us to start an outdoor program for the junior high and senior high ministry. And so the high school director, who's to this day one of my best friends and mentors in my life, Lars Ruud, he's from Seattle, and he used to be a whitewater rafting guide, so he's like, we're going to start a whitewater program. So they bought boats and kayaks and climbing gear and all this stuff, and part of that money was used to train us how to do that. So they sent me to whitewater rafting guide school. The company that we did it through, they offered me a position whenever I wanted guiding, and so
that just seems like a fun time.
Oh, it was the best. Yeah.
And what year was that?
That was 2002.
And then poker entered your life right after?
No, poker was in my life.
Well, I mean, professionally.
Professionally. Well, I was semi-pro through college. Like, I grew up in LA, and as soon as I was 18, I can remember the very first time I played poker was at San Manuel. I played 1 to 5 spread limit stud high.
Weird.
And there was no limit hold'em. This is in 2000.
Yeah.
And I made like $68. I made like 5 full houses, tipped everyone $5 on the way out. Thought I was the best. But all the way through college, I mean, I started playing on Planet Poker in 2000.
Wow.
Playing 2-4, 3-6 limit. I bonus hoard a whole bunch of those online casinos. Like, I mean, they were everywhere back then. Like,
oh yeah, I remember.
And it'd be like, $100 deposit gets you 20% sign up bonus, and you have to wager $500 to release it or whatever. So I would put $100 on. I would put $5 on the pass line, $5 on the don't pass line. Click roll 50 times. Cash out my $18 or whatever I earned on average, and I did that on like every single site. And and play poker, and I didn't have a job outside of rafting or working at the church, neither of which really pay anything, like really ever.
Yeah. Well, let's jump forward a bit then. You have 2 second place finishes in World Series events. You have a second place finish in a WPT event. Do you feel like you need a win in one of these events, in a WPT or a World Series of Poker bracelet? Do you need this to feel successful?
No, I feel plenty successful. I mean, like, there's plenty of people out there that would love to be in my shoes.
Sure. Some people say that, like, oh, I can't, I just need that win.
Yeah, well, I've played a lot of heads up, sit and go since Reno.
In 2009, you became a member of Team UB.
Yep.
A decision that caused a little bit of negative feedback, which you probably knew it was going to. Did the criticism affect you at all?
A little bit, but I left for 2 months on a motorcycle instead. A little escapism.
Yeah. Maybe, is that why you did that?
No, I did it because I wanted to, but I got a last-minute patch deal for my Reno final table in March of 2008 with UB. It was a really interesting situation that there's a lot of information out there about, where Oliver C. basically torpedoed my chances of getting a deal with Stars or Tilt.
Okay.
And so I called up Katie Lindsay, who is now my agent, who wasn't an agent back then, but who I knew had connections with UB. I'm like, hey, is there anything you can do? And she made a bunch of phone calls, and while I was getting makeup done, Sean Rice came down and negotiated a patch deal with me while I'm doing the makeup, and shook hands, and they paid me and everything. And then the whole scandal broke April or May of 2008. And then I was somewhat offered a full-time deal in the series, in the 2008 series, and I was like, yeah, I'm not so sure.
Right.
I really want to see how you guys handle things, and not really ready yet. So fast forward to this year's series, and I didn't do diddly since. I had a great spring of 2008, and I really just hadn't done anything well live at all, but I was offered a retainer deal, where they gave me a little bit, and part of it was an Aruba package, and I'd go down there and talk to them more about that. And I had a chance to go down and meet everybody. Really gave it a hard look at what the site's done and all that sort of stuff, and I personally am very happy with what they've done. I'm happy with the ways that they've been able to utilize us. And you know what, it's really hard for a goofy white kid that has never won anything to receive an endorsement deal, and I'm honored to have it.
And I always say, it's really easy for people sitting behind their computers to make, comments when they're not in your shoes.
Yeah.
So, I'm happy for you.
Thanks.
You once said in an interview that your ambition was to start a nonprofit wilderness camp for disadvantaged children.
Still is.
Still is. How is that coming along, or?
Well, I mean, it's coming along a lot differently than I had planned it.